G'day fellas and welcome to a casted game. We are here once again on the brand new expansion for Age of Empires 4. This is the Sultan's Ascent. And boy oh boy do we have ourselves an absolute banger of a game today. The new map, Cliffside, an old civilization, the Mongols, a new civilization, the Ayyubids. Let's get to it. Spawning in the west side of the map in the color blue, playing as the Mongols. We've got FF, 20th of February, 2020. At least I think that's how you say it. We're just probably going to go with FF. A little bit easier. He's gone for the Uvu early on, as you would expect your most common Mongol players to do. Most glorious Mongol players. Now, if you're enjoying this Age of Empires 4 content, which I'm sure you are, make sure you hit that like button, because I tell you what, if I don't remind you to do it, you're just not going to do it. Now, speaking of doing stuff, let's go have a look on the other side of the map, because we got somebody doing some stuff over here, and it's the time that we introduce them. Ladies and gentlemen, in the color yellow, as is standard, typical, normal for the guy, playing as the Ayyubids, representing Team GL, aka Gamer Legion. It's the one, the only, it is the Viper. We got him back once again. Elephant is here, he's in his golden yellow color, and of course, we're excited because he is on a brand new civilization. This is the Abbasid dynasty's variant civilization, the Ayyubids. They're a little bit different, a little bit sneakier, a little bit cheekier than their Abbasid counterpart, and I'm curious to see exactly how the Viper looks to play them. They're a civilization that's got a lot of different options, and we can see Viper already starting to look for that age up. He's got plenty of resources in the bank. The question's going to be, which wing does he opt for early on? Now, if he's like me, which he is because he's a cool guy, and I'm a cool guy as well, we're both cool guys, I reckon he's probably going to go with, I feel like Eco Wing just makes so much sense, right? Like, it's good. You get some villagers. Who doesn't like villagers? But I really don't know what the best approach is at the moment. I've been out of the meta for a while, and you'll have to forgive me for that, so I'm slowly going to have to readjust. I tell you what, I was telling my wife a little bit earlier. I said, look, Boo, because I call her Boo. I said, Boo, I need to cast some games, but most importantly, I need to get back on the ladder. I've been out of the game for a while now. It's been a couple weeks, and the meta has long evolved. Where do we go from here? Who knows? We're just going to have to wait. We're going to have to watch. We're going to have to see exactly what the plan is, and look at this. We know the age up's coming through. I don't know what wing this is exactly. I want to say it's Eco Wing, but have a look at this. We got no idea what it is because the UI is still broken. Let's click it. I think it's Eco Wing. It is Eco Wing. It is the villagers. Oh, we nailed it. We nailed it. I told you. I'm a cool guy. He's a cool guy. We do cool guy things together. And have a look at this. Talking about cool. The barracks comes out. Double spearman. Viper spots it and says, "Oh, you cheat." Ooh. Okay. And the villagers immediately realize that the potential attack they were looking for is just not going to happen. Two villagers on this early outpost. Now, take a look at this outpost. This is prime real estate here. We've got a stone outcropping. We've got berries. And most importantly, I mean, not really most importantly, but in addition to, you know, if I had to give importance to this, I'd be like, okay, berries, 45% importance. Stone outcropping, 45% importance. And then it's like the deer over here, 1% importance. Like, other than that, it's just, there's like a percentage allocated to this individual straggler tree as well. That's how irrelevant these deer are right now for the Ayyubids. But speaking of irrelevant, Viper losing a villager, that's going to be irrelevant for him, I'm sure. He doesn't even care about it. Loses a villager 3 minutes into the game. He's being attacked from multiple angles. Got to be careful with that scout. Does manage to move it in time. Now, keep in mind here, his opponent is a very solid player. FF currently sitting at Conqueror 3. Viper still climbing up the ladder. Not quite yet Conqueror 3, but is slowly making his way up. The Khan will go down. And FF taking an early loss there. But speaking of FF, now looking to throw down that second outpost. Is this with a different villager? No, it's with the same villagers from before. I was just a bit curious because he's brought only the one villager in. But now, Viper looking to bust down the outpost. He may have spread himself a little bit too thin here, FF. He's got to be careful. The villager does get pulled back. Age up comes through. Immediate archery range gets thrown down. Vils now, with their shivs out, realize and appreciate that, hold on a minute, we could just look for a kill here. The spearmen on the south side are all tied up inside the outpost, and this is the consequence if you look to play a greedy, aggressive early opening. And it's a bit funny, right? Greed and aggression normally are not two sides of the same coin, but they are here in that you're going for aggression and you're trying to be greedy with your aggression. But what you've done is you've managed to to throw down the first outpost. You've got minimum defenses in there, only the 2 spearmen. You haven't made any more spearmen. You've only got the 4 out on the field, and as a result, it's not enough to defend your second outpost. Now, if that second outpost was a little bit closer to the first one, so say if he went for it inside the radius of the first and looked to try and bunny hop it to the wood line, that would be a different story. But he went greedy. He said, I'm going to go for this outpost on the gold. And of course, it fails. So Viper doing a solid job early on, only losing the 1 villager, but will ride on board with his opponent. Because the age up is now coming through for FF. He's going to be opting for the deer stones. Of course, you can always look to pick up the trade landmark here, but trade posts aren't the most efficient position on this map. I guess realistically, you could look to try and throw down your market in this corner or your trading landmark in this corner if you've got one available to you. But of course, not going to be happening here today for FF. Going to be orientating himself more towards that feudal age, and I'd be curious to see what kind of upgrades he looks to go for once the age up comes through. So I'm suspecting we'll probably focus a little bit more on economic upgrades. He doesn't have a wheelbarrow just yet at this stage. I know that there's a gur out somewhere. There it is. Doesn't look like it's done too much at this stage, but I would suspect maybe double broadaxe, wheelbarrow, going to be really key upgrades here. But up against the Ayyubids, you've got to remember, this civilization loves to go castle age very, very quickly, and Viper sniping off one of the sheep. Very, very cheeky, Viper. I'll give it to you, though. I'll give it to you. The pasture, a little bit of an awkward spot here. Not gonna lie. Age-ups come through. Keshiks on the way now in for our Mongol player. On the other side of the map, it looks like we've got the outpost starting to be upgraded. So looking to pick up that slight little bit of extra range isn't going to change a thing. You've got to remember that on a map like this, the resources far enough away from the town center where this is not going to make a huge difference. If anything, it just makes it a little bit harder to take down from the Viper's perspective. But at this stage, Viper can look to try and take it down with a battering ram. Keep in mind, he is playing the Ayyubids, which means he does have access to the battering ram without going into the blacksmith, without going into siege engineering, and he does have the resources for it in the bank. But you know what else he might be doing? Hello, hello, hello. How you doing? There it is. Town center coming up 7 minutes. Not a bad little timing, considering he did go into that 3 villager opening, as well as the fact that he was dealing with early aggression from his opponent. But now those Keshiks look like they will make connections. Villager going to be the unfortunate victim of that early cavalry comp coming out from his opponent. We'll ride on board with FF once again and see how he's doing with regard to upgrades. It doesn't look like we've seen anything coming through from him just yet. No double broadaxe, no wheelbarrow, even though he's got the resources for it. He could double broadaxe right now off this if he really wanted to, but doesn't find it at this stage. We'll check in with the Viper and see how he's doing as he's under attack on multiple fronts here. I tell you what, this is one of the things that at lower levels, especially, you know, we're talking about, you know, anything below diamond, this multiple front aggression just absolutely rips you apart. It is so damn difficult dealing with this multiple aggression because, you know, you forget about this outpost down here and you send 7 villagers to the berries, and then at the same time you're being attacked on your barracks. Then all of a sudden, oh, that's right, the villagers on the berries, but they're all dead. So it can be very tough. But look, if you're interested in getting better at Age of Empires 4, which I'm sure you are, make sure you do check out the Patreon. I'm going to hit this button here on my stream deck. I'm hoping it's the right one. There you go. So if you want to improve, check out some replay reviews. There's private coaching over there. Lots of exclusive content that you'll be able to find on Patreon. But now that second town center is up, does manage to stay alive. Of course, the Keshiks here forced back. Keep in mind, they do have that nice little bit of extra armor, which helps them out defending up against those town centers. And their extra fire that they get from the villagers jumping inside. But now that camel, the Desert Raider, makes its way forward. Remember, it's got that camel unease that it puts out. Very nice. Just to keep one of these with the army, just the same way that Viper is doing at the moment. Wanting to avoid any more than that. But on the other side of the map, it looks like FF is instead going to be going into Wheelbarrow. But it's kind of a... Is he? It looks like he's maybe moving or maybe thinking about going towards Castle Age here. Which is... interesting. He's got plenty of production down here, and the double pasture also kind of points towards a castle age. But one thing to note, he has now scouted his opponent's second town center. So how will he respond to that? Big push coming forward. Camel Unease still in play here. Looks like he wasn't really paying attention. FF going to be losing out that one Keshik. Cops a fair bit of damage on the other 2 as well. Khan almost goes down. 28 health left on it. And the Viper continues to push up. Only Spearman in queue at the moment for him, and the upgrades are now starting to come through. One thing to know about the Viper, if you haven't watched him play before, he is a very greedy player. He loves to try and get away with as much greed as he can, within reason. You know, he's not the kind of guy to throw down 17 town centers and call it a day. I tell you what, he is indeed looking to make sure he's maximizing his efficiency when it comes to the economic side of things. Not only does he have that second town center up, which is now kicking out a second villager every 20 seconds. Well, at least when he's not housed. How did he lose this house? Did the house actually go down to the outpost? I think that's what we're seeing here. But it kicks out a second villager every 20 seconds compared to his opponent. But on top of that, he's looking for those eco upgrades as well. We now start to see he's also picking up textiles just in case there are any raids that come through. Now moving towards the middle, it looks like FF playing a bit of an interesting style here, not really committing to feudal, just making enough units to see him up to the castle age. And Viper's going to be on the back foot, at least for a little bit here, as these Keshiks do posture towards that north side. But I think Viper might be doing the right thing here, heading down towards the bottom. The question's going to be about how many archers the Viper's got out, because he's up against 6 archers here, and they'll be able to kite away on these spearmen. Spearmen doing a decent job, but of course, in the end, the power of the archer is way too strong up against these units. Double broadaxe now coming through as well for FF. Both of these players looking to focus on that wood economy. Really, really important. Now FF thinking about heading up to that castle age. Not long to go. He's most likely going to be moving into the step redoubt. He's got plenty of gold towards this top side. Really, really efficient placement of the step redoubt right here. Doubling it up. Hopefully he looks to go for that. But of course, we've seen the Kurultai quite prominently over the last couple of weeks. I'm curious to see which direction he looks to take it, though. Right on board with a Viper. With the Viper. Did I call him a Viper? We'll ride on board a Cobra and then a Viper, and then if you're lucky, I'll get an Anaconda out for you, and we'll ride along on that as well. But in the meantime, we can check in with FF and see that he has indeed gone for the Kurultai. So a bit more of a focus here on that military side of things. You know, I saw a Reddit post today. It said, what's the best one base civilization? If I just want to play one base or one TC, what's the best civ? And immediately the thought came to my mind. I just said Mongols. Mongols is the best civilization. You want to do one base, just play Mongols. But, you know, reading the comments, there are a lot of top contenders up there. You know, the Ottomans was up there. Delhi was up there. I was thinking, yeah, they all make sense. I didn't see it in there, but I also thought, you know, Holy Roman Empire, really good one base civilization, but they're not really, you know. You get Imperial Age, and you've got the Palace of Swabias at really one base, you know. Anyway, we can talk about that all day, realistically. But, you know, you got... I shouldn't talk about it. You know, it's Reddit. You guys don't want to hear about Reddit. We've all got neckbeards over there. Anyway, I'll talk less about my neckbeard, more about this game as the Viper's aged up. We didn't even get to see what he's aged up with. He's gone with the trade wing. Hello, Viper. How you doing over here? What kind of trades has he got? Never mind. He's gone for the Ayyubids. Oh, I thought he'd gone for the traders. I didn't even realize he was aged up because it doesn't show on the UI. I should have realized, and I should have checked it. I apologize. So he's gone for the Ayyubids. The Ayyubids? The Ayyubids. Anyway, 4 Ayyubids at the moment. Now, let me explain how these work, because it's very, very rare that we actually see these. I say rare, but that's only in the context of my mind from 3 weeks ago. And remember, a lot can change in 3 weeks. So, Viper's got these little camel dudes, and he's going to throw them in the buildings. And when he puts them in the buildings like that, it's going to increase the amount of health that the units that are made from those buildings have. So as an example, we've got a spearman here. The spearman's got 90 health. When you put the Ayyubid in the barracks, instead of having 90 health, that is going to rocket up from 90 to, well, it's 20%, so it's a little bit less than 20. What is it? 18 health. So it goes up to 108, but that's a pretty decent amount when you think about it, right? Because you've got armor that stacks on top of that. Well, here we've got 110. So I'm curious to see exactly how much that is, but what's interesting to note is that your existing units don't get that. It's only the new units that are made. Now, I'd have to double check this, but I'm pretty sure you can get Ayyubids into the siege workshop, which give your siege engines more health as well, and that affects things like battering rams, which is pretty cool. But I'd have to fact check that one. I remember it, but you know, I'm not 100%, and it's best not to preach if you're not 100%. Anyway, we move on. We move forward. We'll ride on board with FF for a little bit. He's got this little bit of presence up towards the north, and I'm curious to see what angle he goes for with regard to the unit composition. I think the big thing to note right now is that from the perspective of FF, he is making a pretty significant mistake at this stage of the game. And that is this. He has scouted his opponent, and he has scouted the second town center. So he needs to have an effective response to that. Now, he didn't get up to castle age before his opponent. In fact, the Viper got up before him. Relics are still on the table at this stage. We've got one in the bag. Well, one in the bag now for FF. But Viper could look to deny those out. He's definitely got presence out here as well. He's got the upgrades. And it means that, for all intents and purposes, Viper's got a pretty decent advantage going into this. The tech lead is non-existent for FF. The villager count, of course, is in favor of the Viper, but the military as well, also in favor of the Viper. So it just feels like FF hasn't really done a decent job of punishing the Viper for that second TC. He stayed on the back foot quite a bit here. Now the question is going to be, which military composition do we have coming out from the Viper? And is it going to be Ghulam crossbow? Because it seems really, really popular. A lot of Ayyubid players have been moving into it. On the other side, though, FF already has that mangonel out, and you want to know what's very important to dealing with that crossbow mass that begins to build? Well, it's the mangonel, of course. But keep in mind, both of these civilizations do have access to a unique ability. I say unique. It's not really unique if both of them have access to it. Both of them have ways to construct siege on the field that is good siege. I'm talking about your mangonels. I'm talking about your springles. And now FF making a little bit of a mistake. He's biting off more than he can chew here, heading over the mountain. But the Viper turns around and says, "Actually, no. That is a fierce army. The men at arms. Viper doesn't actually have any. Well, he's got one crossbow in here by the looks of it. Yeah, well, it's a single crossbow. It's not really going to be able to do it. At the same time, a little bit of a cute raid on the backside. The Ghulam coming in. Sacred Sight's being taken. Khan going down. Viper now in a little bit of trouble as this mangonel rolls through. Does he spot it? He doesn't actually spot it, but he just senses. He's got his spider senses tingling. Maybe his Viper senses tingling right now. Have a look at that. You've heard about the 8-legged man, but what about the man with no legs? Well, ladies and gentlemen, you're looking at him. He is strong, and he is... What's it called when the snakes, they slither? He is slithering right now. He's slithering his way. Oh, out of that mangonel shot just. It was a nice little dodge towards the top side. It looks like we've got ourselves... What do we got? Double Keshik up here up against the Dervish. They've taken out one so far. Second one also getting focused down. But have a look at this. 4 relics in favor of FF. He's managed to do a decent job of picking up relics. Now, of course, he doesn't have the Steppered out. Does have the Kurultai. That will give him presence on the field when it comes to military. As long as he's able to get it out there. Make sure the Khan's nearby to get that nice little attack speed bonus. Is that the way it still works? No, it's not. The Khan doesn't give that bonus anymore. It's not attack speed, sorry, attack damage bonus. But yeah, the way it used to work is the Khan was nearby and it would give the attack damage, and it always did the healing, but you just never got the attack damage unless the Khan was there. But obviously that's been changed, and I guess that's probably why it's such a strong landmark now. But Viper, once again, chasing back his opponent. So what do we got here with regard to ways for FF to get back into this game? He's playing one base still. He's down 30 villagers in this game. Now, he's managed to take out 4 workers so far, but that's not nearly enough considering the Viper's been on 2 TCs for how long now? Since what, the 7th minute? I think we dropped it down. So for 10 minutes, 11 minutes, he's had these 2 TCs pumping. And that's given him a huge advantage when it comes to the villager count. No real punishments come through by FF here. So realistically, there's pretty much one shot to win this. I feel like you could try and take this late game as FF, but the second TC's come way too late. He has picked up the relics, but we're at the 18-minute mark. If we were at the 10-minute mark right now when he was picking up the relics and he had 4 relics to his name and was about to put down that TC, then sure, I would say, you know, we're fine. The problem is we're at 18 minutes, and it's quite late. And that is largely just because of the Viper's defense. But now the Kurultai is looking to move forward, will place itself down very, very quickly. FF looks to put it down here. The army beginning to move up for the Viper. Gosh, I gotta be careful with my pronunciation here. More and more units heading towards the top of that hill. Viper's army continuing to increase. Have a look at this, 60 versus 25. Plenty of siege on the side of the Viper as well. Towards that top side, another little raid coming through here. He's been relentless this game with these raids, just coming in on the back, trying to find a way through. A couple of unique upgrades still yet to be picked up at this stage by FF. Now Viper with a large army. Archers, crossbows, spearmen, Ghulams. He's gone for absolutely everything. I feel like he's gone to Subway and he's just said, give me everything. They've said everything. He said lettuce, tomato, onions, pickles, jalapenos. They've said jalapenos, sir. He said, give me double jalapenos. The sprinkles are the jalapenos because they get extra spicy. Anyway. Sorry. Anyway, we move on. We move forward. Viper looking to try and pick off villagers towards the top side. We'll be able to find it. Springwood emplacements are through, but it's not going to matter. You can't fortify these outposts, and as a result, it's going to take longer. At least you can't fortify them until the Imperial Age. Manages to clean up a nice little encounter on that south side. And now Kurultai looking to move into position. We'll be able to find it. The villagers skating their way out of there. Mangonel coming through, but remember, the Viper's already got 4 Springles that you're going to have to contest. Trebuchet is out as well. Villagers moving forward, you know exactly what he's thinking about. We're going to switch it over to income. Apologies, we're 20 minutes through this game, and I'm only switching it to income now. So I do say sorry to all my income enjoyers over there. I know you're out there. I see your comments whenever you say, Drungo, it's 17 minutes in and you still haven't switched it. Sorry. Mango, big Mango. Okay, all right. Viper still might be in a little bit of trouble here. The Mango made a decent connection there. Springles routing around. He's got a bit of an awkward position here. I think Viper realistically needs to come back down towards his central location. The fact that he's got the keep here is going to make it extra difficult to deny. He's got a huge villager lead. I think this is almost certainly the Viper's game. It's just going to be a question of how long it takes him to finish it off. You got to remember that with Viper being out of the ring for so long, he may forget, you know, what the best way to finish off a player is, but it definitely doesn't seem that way. He's approaching 200 population. The age up for Imperial could be around the corner here. And the keep coming down just solidifies this position even further. But now Viper, with his absolute monstrosity of an army right now, every single infantry unit, he is picking it all up. We hear a relic behind the scenes getting picked up. It's going to be the Imam, or rather the Shaman, trying its best, but not going to have it. Viper snatches one away. We're heading into the cinematic mode. You know we're doing it right now. Holding on for dear life. Viper continuing to push forward. The siege looking solid. Give me everything he said and everything he's got. Look at him. Just running around looking for it. Springles have been made. He's got 2. Third one's moving up. The Kurultai. Oh, the Kurultai didn't even realize how low it had gotten. Springles come forward. They're trying to hit the Trebuchet. He's made a huge mistake, though. The Springles able to take it out, and Good Game gets cold. He just taps it in front of the Viper. Viper way too strong. He comes in like a sniper, like a python, like an anaconda, and just taps his opponent out. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be casting all the Viper games. I don't care if they're boring. I don't care if you don't like them. I absolutely love them, and we're going to keep them. Did I say love him? That's awkward. Oh, that's a Freudian slip.